Hi guys, hoping you're doing well. Welcome to my channel and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've all been living life limitlessly and enjoying the best that life has to offer you, even during difficult times such as these that the world is going through, this COVID-19 pandemic. So about late last year, maybe towards the end of last year, the world woke up to a flu-like virus that was spreading like wildfire, and shortly after that we were hearing of so many deaths in China, and before we knew it, the virus had spread to almost all corners of the world. And I am from Uganda, and I think Uganda registered or reported its first confirmed coronavirus victim in March of this year. And from the time that the first case was reported, the country was put into a total lockdown. And this lockdown went on for about 3 or 4 months, 3 good months. Everybody was at home. There was nowhere to go. Vehicles were not allowed to operate. Motorcycles were not allowed to operate. Businesses were shut down. Private companies, government entities, everybody and everything was on a total lockdown. And for me, there's so many lessons that I learned during this time, more than I have ever learned, I would say, my entire life. Many times we are so busy with life. We are, waking up every day, going to school, going to work. We're just so busy that we do not have time to actually pay attention to the details of our lives, and actually just sit down and evaluate where we have come from, where we are at a specific point in time, and where we plan to go. And so for me, this was a very good time for me to just reflect on my life, where I have come from, where I am at, and where I plan to go. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing a few of the lessons that I learned during the lockdown. We should learn to be appreciative of life. We should not take life for granted, because one day we were happy and having a good time and moving around and traveling and living life normally, and then the next day we just woke up and boom, the world is on lockdown. You cannot go anywhere. You are probably stuck without your family. Others are stuck with people who they did not want to actually be stuck with. So let's not underestimate the value of life, and the gift of each new day is not a guarantee, but it is a blessing from God. So every new day that we wake up alive and healthy, we need to be grateful. We need to continue to give thanks and just be happy, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. It is very important to save for the rainy day. And many times, especially in Africa, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, but many people live from hand to mouth. You're basically earning for today and you're using it that very day. The saving culture has not yet gotten, this does not mean that there are no people who actually save, but many people's saving culture is not very good. And so for me, I really learned that it is important to save for the rainy day, because you never know what tomorrow holds. You do not know what the future holds for you. And as a result of this pandemic, we saw so many people losing their jobs. Very many people have lost their jobs. Many companies have closed. Many organizations have collapsed. So many things. Donors have been pulling out of funding the partners that they were funding. So as a result, many people have lost their jobs. But imagine a situation where you're living from hand to mouth, and you wake up one day and you have lost your job and you do not have any other source of income. What next? What next? So it is very important to save for the rainy day. And in relation to that, it is important to have other sources of income. Many people are simply salary earners. You wait for the end of the month, you receive your salary, begin the next month, and continue on and on and on. And without that salary, there's nothing that you can do. So that has also been a big lesson for me. And during this pandemic, I was thinking so hard of what can I do outside of my job that will continue to bring me money, that will continue to enable me sustain decent livelihood without necessarily having to rely on the job, because God forbid if I lost my job, what would be the way forward? And then another thing that I have also learned from this pandemic is that family is the most important thing at the end of the day. Many people were stuck or locked down with their family members, and it has been a good time to bond. I'm sure there are families that had never found as much time as they did during the lockdown to actually spend together as a family. So that was a very, very good opportunity for families to just bond, get to understand each other, share the joys, and just appreciate the value of family. And even for those, I have friends who are not with their families. There are those who are working maybe abroad or up country in different areas that are far away from their families. They wished they were locked down with their families. So for me, that goes to show that at the end of the day, family that you can always run to. Another lesson that I learned from the lockdown is to embrace technology. We Africans, I'm not saying all, let me say I'm speaking for myself, and I'm sure many others out there, many had not yet embraced the idea of technology. Yes, you use computers or laptops and phones on a daily basis, but actually working online, working through technology, ensuring that you continue to stay relevant, you continue doing the work that you do through technology, has been something that I learned to appreciate during the lockdown. Otherwise, you're going to be kicked out of the market. I realized during the lockdown, it was businesses that were operating online that actually were still in business. More than ever, people were ordering for groceries online. So many things were happening online. So it favored online delivery as opposed to the physical. So it's very, very important to be technologically up to date. I had never heard of Zoom, by the way. I had never heard of Zoom before the lockdown, and thanks to the lockdown, now I'm a Zoom expert. Did you hear that? Yes, now I'm a Zoom expert. I also learned the value of relationships during this lockdown, because we had so much time to ourselves. There were so many people who were out there very, very lonely and wished they just had somebody to spend the lockdown with. Friends to call, friends to hang out with, family to just laugh off with. So that makes you realize that relationships are actually very, very important, because many times when we are so busy and caught up with work, you have no time to think about maybe your siblings or your friends or your colleagues. But this was a very good time to actually keep in touch. And for me, if you did not keep in touch with me during the lockdown, my friend, my brother, my sister, I don't know when you're going to keep in touch with me. I do not know when you're going to communicate with me. So friendships are very, very important. Relationships are very, very important. Family is very, very important. Because of this pandemic and lockdown, I also learned the importance of creativity. It is very, very important for you to be creative, innovative. You need to be a critical thinker. You need to think outside the box. Because an example of YouTubers, there are YouTubers who are travel vloggers. So now that there's a lockdown, you cannot move. What is the way forward? Do you just stop your YouTube career? Do you stop vlogging? Do you stop doing what you used to do because there's a pandemic? You need to think of creative ways of continuing to do your YouTube without actually stopping to do what you do. Now that the pandemic is here, the virus is here, we do not know when it is going to be gone. We need to learn how to live with it and embrace the new normal. Things like face masks, sanitize all the time, wash your hands, maintain social distancing, and above all, continue to remain safe and healthy. Thank you so much for watching, and I love you guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff.